Okay, so Merry Christmas everyone. I'm making this video on Christmas Day. So let's talk about 3 mistakes you can make long term that could ruin your aesthetic and your physique. First one is going to be underdeveloped rear delts. It's not going to be as common as the typical lateral raise 3 times a week. Nothing looks worse than standing sideways and seeing that someone's anterior delt dwarfs their rear delt. So when it happens, it kind of looks like your shoulder's bulging forward and it's very smooth in the back of your shoulder, almost like you can't tell if someone lifts. And when you do a double back bicep, you look from behind, you could see kind of the chunk on the top and like the regression on the back, and it's not really aesthetic. Trust me, you won't notice it now, but maybe in like a couple of years you'll look back and be like, holy crap, what the heck is happening? My shoulder looks goofy. It's not because you have bad muscle insertion, it's not because maybe you do. And so it's easy to fix. All you have to do is rotate between lateral raising and training rear delts. Maybe if you train lateral raises 3 times a week, following week you can do rear delts 3 times a week to kind of balance out. If your front delts respond a lot easier than your rear delts, it's probably a good idea to take back the volume and frequency so that you can have the same effect, even if you have to work harder for less. When your shoulder looks equally developed in the front, the back, side, that's when you get that boulder shoulder look and it looks very aesthetic. Number 2 is when you look at the side profile again, see that someone has a massive shoulder and small arms. Even worse, massive biceps and triceps, but tiny shoulders. Honestly, that's not a look you want. That's more so an aesthetic that like a skinny arm, big boob star would have. All jokes aside, people that tend to suffer from this are usually shorter stature that have a more compact frame, in which it's really a double-edged sword because people can put on size a lot more, like they look a lot bigger because their frame's a lot easier to fill out because they're shorter, smaller. If your arms are very long and your shoulders are very narrow, you're probably not gonna be that bad off because longer arm means more real estate. But if you have short arms, short kind of frame on the top, like shoulder width, then when you pack on a lot of size to your biceps and triceps and you kind of neglect the shoulders, you look pretty off. So in the case that you're shorter and your arms grow really fast, I'd recommend definitely regress some of the frequency of your training volume and focus more on the shoulders so you get that nice proportion. You can really see this in open bodybuilding versus classic bodybuilding, where the biceps and arms almost dwarfs the upper shoulder. For some of these massive dudes, it's a look, not for me, but it's definitely a look in bodybuilding. Now, the third tip I have to building an aesthetic physique is to have a well-developed chest. Rarely will you see a physique that's not aesthetic with a well-developed chest, and rarely would you see a physique that looks aesthetic with a not very developed chest. Myself, I identified that. I used to be like that. I used to feel like my chest was very underdeveloped. And so personally, what helped myself, stop thinking that the flat bench press is going to give you droopy nipples or droopy chest, especially if you have trouble growing a chest. Work the flat bench, work the flat press, add in some upper chest work. A lot of us hear from bodybuilders that you really need to build up that upper chest. That upper chest is what's going to bring all the aesthetic. Honestly, training the flat bench, flat press has done wonders for myself. And it really makes sense if you think about the anatomy of the chest. The chest is very massive, the pec major. The mid chest / lower chest area, it's a pretty significant part of your chest. Of course, you don't want to have nothing on the top part of your chest, so you do want to do a lot of incline work. But I think because it's so far west in that direction where it's always more incline this, incline that, there usually is a lot of overlap with the shoulders, and so the shoulders get worked as well, versus something like the flat bench where you can get a wide variety of the pec major being trained. So these are 3 aesthetic upper body tips that I would recommend for yourself. If you have any other questions or comments, drop below. Like the video, subscribe. Peace out. Merry Christmas. Use code Delt Ls, 15% off. And we'll get you with another workout video in the next upload. Peace.